All right. Welcome back. It's late again. Actually, this one's really late. I don't even got an excuse for this one. Today is my first week at school. That's what the excuse is gonna be for today, and I just, lost track of time. That's what we'll say. I'm not gonna really dive much into it, but you're gonna get it tonight at whatever time you get it. So don't complain. Just enjoy. My 2 to 3%. They know who they are. But yeah, we're just gonna react to the most hated team in the NBA. Can you guess who it is? You're wrong. All right. Let's roll the tape.
It's good for an NBA team to be hated. It's a sign that you're doing something right. The Warriors were hated for being the most dominant team ever. The Lakers were hated as soon as LeBron and AD joined forces. And the same happened with the Brooklyn Nets and their overly dramatic superstars. But neither of those teams are the most hated NBA team right now. This title belongs to the Phoenix Suns, who deserve it with their complaining, late game trash.
They act like they've won. They ain't won yet. But the regular season.
Ownership problems, overall pettiness, and everything in between. But how did the Suns become so despicable? Just 2 years ago, the Suns were a fun little team that had just got their first 5 seconds of fame. In the infamous NBA bubble, the Suns were the only undefeated team with an 8-0 record. Even though they ultimately missed the play-in tournament, the Suns showed great teamwork on and off the court. Their little run showed the ownership they were on the right path and that they needed a strong leader to pair with young Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. And for that role, there's nobody better than Chris Paul, who Charles Barkley often calls the best leader in sports. When you have Chris Paul on your team, your competitiveness increases, your win tally increases, but also your team instantly becomes more annoying. It just comes with the territory. CP3 is one of the 5 best point guards in NBA history, and also one of the biggest pests of all time. We love CP, but it's fair to say he's annoying as hell, always complaining to the referees and talking smack to opponents. This Chris Paul effect almost always trickles down to the rest of the team, and everybody else starts being more competitive, aggressive, and talkative on the court. When he was with the Clippers, they always complained about something. And when he got traded to the Rockets, Paul led Houston's players to fight with the Clippers in the hallway of the Staples Center.
4 Rockets players literally breached the Clippers locker room.
But nobody on the Suns embraced the CP3 way of behavior more than Devin Booker. Booker was averaging over 20 points per game since his rookie year, but during his 5-year tenure with Phoenix, they were one of the worst teams in the league, and Book was fed up with losing. He was a great player who once scored 70 points in a game, but it still wasn't enough for the Suns to win, and that was the story of his career. Then, Chris Paul showed up. After 5 losing seasons, the Suns finally started winning and had their best season in 10 years. Booker finally had some bragging rights over players that used to always beat him, and it's fair to say, Book used those bragging rights to the fullest.
Sure.
You often see him talk trash and hype himself up after big plays, which we usually welcome and love to see. But if you looked closely, most of those loud plays came after the Suns were leading. In the 2021 playoffs against the Nuggets,
He is scared. He is scared showboater. He's scared if he do it. He do it when it's too close to the game. He goes spark somebody's fire. Better watch out now.
when they were up 3-0, Booker and the Suns started antagonizing Denver's players, and it all resulted in a big fight at the end of Game 4. In the next round, Book was again super loud with every bucket he scored against the shorthanded Clippers. But the Suns advanced to the finals, and Devin played great. But then, just when it seemed like the Suns would win the title, and that they would never shut up about it, Giannis had had enough.
Yes, sir.
The Bucks won 4 games in a row, secured the championship, and once again left the Suns empty-handed. Still, the 2021 finals trip only put more wood to the Suns' competitive fire and re-engaged their fighting spirit. Phoenix entered the 2022 season with the same team, and they were good. They were really good. With 64 wins, they had the winningest season in franchise history and the best record in the league. Winning and acting cocky surely felt good for the fans.
It's been too long! We want this!
But for the opposing fans, the hate train started to gain speed. One of the most notable flex moments was when Booker and Ayton released a video of themselves working out.
Yeah. Winners work, baby. Winners work, baby.
after they defeated the Warriors by a measly 4 points in a game where Steph Curry didn't play. And in the first round of the 2022 playoffs against the Pelicans, that hate for braggadocious Suns shifted into another gear. Things got a little bit chippy between Chris Paul and Jose Alvarado, who annoyed the hell out of Paul in the series, becoming Paul's shadow and picking him up full length of the court, coming from behind and stealing the ball gave notoriety to Alvarado. The Pelicans managed to win 2 games against the Suns, while Alvarado's pesky defense got under Paul's skin. CP let out some frustration by elbowing Alvarado in the face during Game 6 of the series. Paul wouldn't even mention Alvarado by his name, and he purposely said his name wrong to discredit him. Still, CP3 and the Suns won the series, but the Pelicans would remember this series. In the very next playoff round against the Dallas Mavericks, the Suns gained a vast majority of their current haters. Booker heavily provoked Doncic throughout the series. When asked about Luka's defense and targeting him in the pick and roll, Booker and Chris Paul looked at each other and laughed. It was 2-0 for the Suns at that point, and everything looked peachy. But Doncic responded with 2 wins of his own, proving that laughing about his defense wasn't really smart. But the Suns had no chill. They had to do it again.
Probably one of the few guys in the league who like defense.
It was Game 5 of the series, and it was a blowout game in the Suns' favor. Devin Booker drove to the basket and got fouled, after which he rolled all over the floor and mockingly named this move after the game. As he was walking out of the tunnel, Luka famously shouted out Michael Jordan's phrase. The Mavs then won Game 6 in a blowout of their own, but it was only an interlude to what was coming. For Game 7 in Phoenix, the Suns were favorites, as the home team won every game of the series, but they dropped the ball so hard it nearly blew a hole in the ground. The Suns ended the first half with a 30-point deficit, and Luka scored as many points as the whole Suns team. Before the end of the third, Phoenix was down by 46 points, and it was the biggest embarrassment the NBA has ever seen in a Game 7. Since Booker made his comment about a Luka special, the Mavs outscored them by 79 points, and it was an extremely hard pill to swallow.
It hurts. But as a team, we just have to own it.
After this gigantic failure in the playoffs, we figured that the Suns would learn to shut up and play and not act like they won the league 5 times in a row. We were wrong. It turns out the whole world massively underestimated the Suns' ability to create drama and be obnoxious. In June of 2022, the Suns started the offseason with some DeAndre Ayton contract drama. Ayton didn't speak with the team for weeks, but ultimately the Suns decided to match Indiana's offer for Ayton, which kept the former first overall pick in Phoenix. Just a few weeks later, we had the Robert Sarver scandal. The Suns owner was accused of sexual harassment, misogyny, racism, and creating a hostile working environment for over 2 decades. After a lengthy investigation by the NBA, the league has suspended Sarver for 1 year, plus fined him $10 million. And ultimately, Sarver was forced to sell the team. Before the start of training camp, the Suns decided to keep Jay Crowder on the bench until they found a trade partner for him.
They're working on finding a trade for him, but in the meantime, they have granted him to be excused from training camp.
Despite Crowder starting all the games for the team in their record-breaking 2022 season, he still hasn't suited up for the team in the 2023 season. Neither of these events brought popularity to the Suns organization, and when the regular season started, they continued with the negative trend. In a game against the Warriors, Devin Booker kept trash-talking Klay Thompson, who was visibly struggling after 2 major injuries. Again, Booker only trash-talked him after it was clear that the Suns were winning, and Klay kept repeating that he got 4 rings, putting some perspective into the conversation. Still, it was Thompson who got ejected from the game, which was his first ejection in 651 career games. That's how pissed off he was at Booker and the Suns. Fast forward a few weeks later, the Suns had a scuffle against the Knicks, and a bit after that, they had another one against the Lakers. Booker taunted Austin Reeves after a block, after which Patrick Beverley pushed and tripped DeAndre Ayton. After he served a 3-game suspension, Beverley said he'd push Ayton again if he got the chance. Beverley claimed it all began before the game started. I shake everybody's hand. I put my hand on DeAndre Ayton's hand, and he doesn't shake my hand. So something was brewing there from the beginning. Beverley's known for his pesky antics, but this time, the world was at his side, as nobody is a big fan of the Suns right now. But perhaps no other team hates the Suns as much as the Pelicans, who made sure to retaliate after last year's year's loss. This time it was Alvarado who refused to say Paul's name in the interview before the game. Even though he had a cracked rib, Alvarado said that he'll play if this person plays. Chris Paul did play, and he made sure to give Alvarado's ribs a nice hit from the back, which surely didn't feel too good. But the Pelicans had the last laugh. The game was already decided in the final minute, and the Pelicans' Zion Williamson decided to stir the pot a bit more. The Suns gave up on the play and just waited for the game to be over. But Zion wanted to put an exclamation mark on the Pelicans' victory, and he dunked the ball super hard. Of course, his windmill dunk sparked an altercation between both teams, and both benches cleared out and collided in the middle of the court. After the game, Zion apologized for his dunk, but it was clear that he didn't mean it, and that the Pelicans hate the Suns with gusto. That was a little out of character for me, but you gotta understand, they sent my teammates home last year.
You know, I was in that locker room. My brothers were down because, you know, the Suns sent us home last year. That's a tough moment to be a part of, so.
The Suns noticed this too. Ayton was on record saying that the teams are playing harder against them and with a chip on their shoulder. Well, DeAndre, part of that is because you were a good team, and the second part is because you were too loud. You talk too much and talk a lot of trash when you're up. It's easy to act tough when you're up, as Doncic famously proved. And unless the Suns start winning titles, they need to just shut up and dribble. If they don't, their antics will just annoy more people and make it super hard on themselves because they'll get everybody's best effort. You haven't won anything yet, Suns. Stop acting like you did, and maybe you won't be the most hated team in the NBA.
That's a weak move. Anyways, moral of the story is, don't talk trash unless you've won. They won in the regular season, but they didn't win in the postseason when it matters. It doesn't matter if you win during the regular season if you don't get the championship at the end. So they're just fake champions. They're wannabe fake champions. They walk around like they've won something and they haven't won nothing but a couple of games in the regular season. Round of applause. Half of the superstars don't even play most of the games in the regular season. They load manage. So anyways, I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm not even a Suns fan. They're not going to do nothing. Chris Paul's never going to have a ring. That's about it. I mean, like, there ain't much to it, but do it. Yes, I know. I'm funny. Anyways, sorry for the late video, but we'll be back at it again tomorrow. See y'all later.